All right, so we will go ahead and get started with today's WebEx. We're going to be discussing some different topics related to motivation, just to kind of touch base and hopefully make sure everybody is still on track. Otherwise, just kind of reaffirming what we're doing and different blocking factors and factors that can come up that can impede your motivation and your progress. So we will go ahead and get started with our presentation here today. If you have any questions, again, please feel free to type them in the chat box and I'll get to those either after the WebEx is done, or I will, if I remember, I'll try to check it while we're going. Um, but otherwise, again, just type in any questions in the chat box and then I can answer those when we get to that. So we'll share the screen here and then we will get started. And again, so today we're going to talk about staying motivated and different things related to motivation. So again, like usual, not an all-encompassing discussion on this, but just enough to get started and to maybe touch on some topics that you're running into, and just to explain the differences between some different types of motivations as well. So we will go ahead and dive in here. Our overview today, again, we'll cover two different types of motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, and what the difference is between those two. Talk about some negative factors on motivation and how we can overcome those, and then again, just how you can stay motivated as we near the end of this 8-week challenge. We are into week 5 here, so we have 3 weeks to go. We are over the halfway point. So moving towards the back half of that, how you can stay motivated throughout the rest of the 8 weeks and beyond that as well. So first we'll take a look at intrinsic motivation. So when you think of intrinsic, intrinsic and internal are both very similar words. So this is behavior that is driven by internal rewards. You get satisfaction from the completion of the activity. So you essentially, with our example here, you go for a run simply because you want to. So you don't need anything that is an external reward to get you motivated enough to go for that run. You just do it because you want to, because you enjoy it. Individuals who are intrinsically motivated exercise again because they want to and are not reward driven. So for some, and for intrinsic motivated folks, it may be easier to get started with exercise and to stay committed to it because you just want to do it. So if you are internally motivated, that's great. If not, that's okay as well. So again, just a real brief covering there of intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is reward-driven behavior or external motivation. So you complete a task with the promise of receiving praise, money, new items, etc. Pretty much anything that you consider to be a reward, you are driven by that factor or that guide. So individuals who are extrinsically motivated may benefit from setting a reward they will give themselves once they reach a certain milestone or goal. So we'll see this a lot with our Health for You participants, is we'll have individuals who maybe want to buy some new clothes once they reach a certain weight loss goal, or once their measurements are going down, their older clothes don't fit. They set that reward as a shopping trip to a store that they like. Or if they want to buy like a new pair of shoes or something like that. So I can be a little bit extrinsically motivated as well when it comes to certain aspects of exercise. So you don't have to like all exercise. I'm not a big runner. This year I bought a new pair of running shoes to help motivate me to continue to run, because if I spend the money on it, then I'm going to want to use it to make sure I'm getting my money's worth. So it really goes in hand in hand. And if you're extrinsically motivated, that's okay. You just have to make sure that you're setting a reward that you can achieve and it's attainable, and you set a goal that's attainable. So just again, a little comparison between the two. Is one better than the other? Not really. It's based on the individual, so you've got to do what works best for you. If you have an intrinsically motivated individual, so if you are driven just to exercise because you want to, there are studies that have been shown that those people can actually lose interest if too much external motivation or reward is provided. At that point, they feel like they're doing something just to earn something, and they lose interest in that activity. So You've got to be careful with that, and you've got to know what works best for you. So intrinsic versus extrinsic. If you don't need that extra encouragement or reward, that's fine, and that's great. If you do, that works as well. So it's not wrong one way or another. It's just how you're wired and how you are motivated and what works best. So staying motivated can be a big challenge with weight loss and with adding activity and tracking your food. It's a lot to do and it can get fatiguing. So we're past the halfway point here with week 5. Staying motivated can become difficult for numerous reasons. Some that are relatively popular, relatively well heard that I've experienced in the past are that your progress isn't going as well as you'd like, or you start to get complacent with your progress, so you're happy about how it's going and you start to ease off a little bit and relax a little bit and get comfortable. Or, you start to feel burned out from workouts. Those are 3 that I have heard a lot throughout my time as a fitness professional. So then we've got to figure out what we can do to stay committed, and you've got to figure out what motivates you individually. So negative factors on motivation. First example here is that it's not going like I thought it would. What will happen a lot is individuals will have this unrealistic expectation in their mind that they should be losing all this weight all at once. So we've got to remember that a realistic expectation for weight loss is half a pound to 1 pound of weight loss per week. So I have a little bit of a typo in there, so you can ignore that. But people think, that you have this goal maybe to lose like 50 pounds, that if you don't lose 10 or 11 or 12 pounds in the first month, that things aren't going well. They're not going as fast as you thought. You start to get discouraged because you don't feel like you're ever going to reach your goal. And you've got to remember that you're not going to lose all that weight at one time. It takes time. It is a process, and to do it healthy, especially, it is a process. So you don't want to just go out and starve yourself and not eat well and not take care of yourself, because then maybe, you'll lose that weight really fast. But once you reach your goal weight, you're just going to stop doing what you're doing and it's going to come back on, and you follow kind of that yo-yo pattern where your weight goes down, then it goes up, and it creeps up a little higher than it was before. And then it goes down again, and then it goes up, and it maybe creeps up a little higher again yet. So you've got to be really careful with that, and you've got to remember that half a pound to 1 pound of weight loss per week, that is normal, that is healthy. You don't need to go over 2 pounds per week, and it adds up throughout the course of a year. So if we think about a year, there's 52 weeks in a year. If you lost a pound of weight every week, that's 50 pounds. And yeah, maybe it seems like a long time, but over the course of 12 months, that would be around 6 pounds a month. So it's pretty darn good. So you've got to look at things in the bigger picture. So we like to set that large goal, and that's great to set a large goal that we're working towards in the end. We've got to break it down into individual goals. So break it down into quarters throughout the year or months throughout the year, and set a goal that you're going to achieve for those couple of weeks versus trying to achieve everything all at once and getting discouraged. Making changes to improve your health are long-term, and they're lifestyle changes. So it's not something that you're just going to turn on in this 8-week challenge. You're going to come in and lose 30 pounds, and then you're not going to have to worry about it the rest of the year or for the rest of your life. You've got to be able to make these changes that are sustainable. They have to be small enough and incremental enough that you're not going from 0 to 100, because that is not sustainable. So making sure that your motivation stays focused on what's in front of you in both the long term, more importantly, the short term, so that you can build that lifestyle change and hold on to that throughout the rest of your life. You also want to focus on the positive. A lot of times you hear people say, oh, well, shoot, I only lost half a pound since the last weigh-in, or, I was gone over vacation and I tried really hard to continue to do what I was doing and I didn't make any progress. That's going to happen, and you've got to know that that's okay. And you don't have to lose 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 pounds in a week to be successful. So if the number goes down on the scale, that's great, but also pay attention to different things. Pay attention to how you feel physically. So maybe you don't get as tired going up and down the stairs, or you don't get as tired when you're out gardening or mowing the lawn or clearing snow which is what we're in right now, but we're getting some nice weather, so hopefully that snow is going to keep going away. But you've got to focus on positive outcomes and positive results. So don't look at it as, oh, I only lost half a pound this week. Look at it as, hey, that number's going in the right direction. I'm feeling good. I'm meeting my goals as far as exercise during the week. I've tracked all my food this week. I'm doing things the right way. Focus on the good. And then think about some areas that you can still make improvements. So odds are, because we're human and we're not perfect, there are things you could still be doing better. So maybe your exercise has been great and on point, and you've been working out 3 to 5 days a week since this challenge started. You've been getting 10,000 steps a day. You're going for 30-minute walks, and you're getting 150 minutes of exercise each week, but you're not doing the best with tracking your food. Maybe you get 2 or 3 days in a row, and then you get one day where you eat a meal that you know isn't going to look very good, so you don't put it in, and then you don't put your next one in, and then 3 days later you haven't logged your food for the rest of the week. It is important, crucially important, to make sure you continue to log your food. If you don't see what you put in, you don't know how much is there, and you don't know how much you need to exercise, or you don't know if you've eaten way too many carbs, or if you've eaten too many fats, or if you've eaten, consumed way too much sugar. So it is important to continue to track your food. And it's definitely important to continue to track to exercise. Maybe you're doing great with your food, but you're not doing so well with your exercise. Remember that those two things work hand in hand. And people will like to get the thought, myself included, that as you track food for maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks or longer, that you start to understand and realize, oh, okay, I know how much this is going to set me back with calories, or I know how much fat is in this, so I don't need to log anymore because I've got it going in my head. I'm guilty of doing that in the past, and as soon as I stop tracking, my eating habits start to go downhill, and then my weight goes in the wrong direction, or I don't continue to make progress, or I don't feel as good because I'm not eating as good of food. So it really is important, and it helps to keep you accountable. We've talked about accountability as well, but it also plays a role with motivation. So look for areas you can make improvements and improve on those, and continue to strive to get better. That's going to help keep you motivated as well. Another negative factor on motivation is getting complacent with your progress. So maybe you are moving towards your goal exactly how you envisioned, like you were going to lose this many pounds by this date, and you are right on that, or maybe a little bit ahead. So you stop doing things like consistently tracking your food or making healthy choices regularly. If you maybe feel like, okay, I'm doing really good here. I haven't had a soda in a while. I'm going to have a soda, or maybe I'm going to go through a fast food place because I haven't had any fast food and you're craving it. And then that one trip can turn into two, and two turns into four. And all of a sudden you're drinking soda every single day again, and you're not paying as much attention to what you're doing because you feel like you've got it under control without having to think about it. And it takes a long time to get to that point where it just becomes automatic, where you exercise and you don't think about it. You go log on to MyFitnessPal and you log your food without thinking about it. So you got to make sure you're staying on top of your progress and don't get complacent. Complacency kills progress. So as soon as you start to get comfortable, I'm not saying you shouldn't feel comfortable exercising and you shouldn't feel comfortable tracking food, but as soon as you start to feel like it's getting almost too easy, that's where you might see a plateau hit, or you might start to slide in the wrong direction, or you lose the motivation to continue to do what you've been doing so well to this point. If you are rocking your previous goal that you already set, that's fantastic and great job, and I applaud you for that. But maybe think about adjusting that goal to keep you on a path to create consistent healthy habits. So maybe if your weight loss goal was 8 pounds for this challenge and you're already at 6, take that up to 10 pounds or 11 pounds and push yourself a little bit harder. Then you can adjust your exercise. You can continue to build on what you've already done well and maybe do even better with what you thought you were capable of doing. So try to avoid complacency. Another one is feeling burned out, and this happens to the best of us. When you've been exercising, with physical fatigue also comes mental fatigue, and this can be a very slippery slope. So it's not only tiring on your body, but it gets tiring on your mind as well. So it gets to the thought of maybe you had a really long day at work and you were on your feet a lot more than normal and you're just tired and you know you should exercise when you get home, but you're just not feeling it. So you decide you're going to skip your workout today, but you'll do it tomorrow instead. Guess what happens? Tomorrow rolls around, you find another excuse to push that workout off another day. The next day rolls around, you find another excuse to push it off again, and all of a sudden you haven't had a consistent workout week in 2 or 3 weeks. And everyone is guilty of this. This happens to me as well. Was gone for a weekend, Friday through Tuesday, and I didn't, other than walking around and chasing my kids around at a water park, I didn't get it. I didn't get a structured workout in because I just would do it when I got back. Well, guess what? Tuesday night, we were back home. We got home Monday. Tuesday night, before coming to work Wednesday, I didn't work out. So it happens to me too. So you've got to remind yourself of your why. So why did you start to, or why did you decide to take this step to improve your health? What is your motivating factor? Keeping that thought in the forefront of your mind when you feel motivation slipping is going to help to reaffirm why you made that decision, and it's going to help motivate you to continue on the path towards progress and success. So burnout is very common. The other thing you can do with burnout is you can change up your exercises. So if you've been doing the same routine for 4 or 5 weeks and you're just tired of the workouts that you're doing, because that happens, that is normal and it is perfectly okay, come see me. We'll set up a new plan. We'll get you going on something else that can maybe help you out. And some of you guys have already reached out to me with that. Thank you for doing that. That is what I'm here for, and I'm here to help you continue to succeed. So please utilize me for that. So those are just a few different negative factors on motivation, and there's a bunch, but those are just some of the most common ones that I have heard since I've been in this profession. So now again, you're wondering, okay, well, how can I stay motivated? If you are already continuing to be at a strong point of motivation, great job. That is fantastic. You're moving along well, and motivation is one of the biggest challenges. So it is tough work. If you've been doing it consistently, great job. If you've had a little bit of a regression on it, or you're starting to have those thoughts of, well, is it worth it? Do I really want to be doing this? Find what drives you to want to be successful. So maybe you're doing this for the health of your kids. So you're trying to set an example for your kids if they're younger, in the elementary age, middle school age, high school age. Maybe you're want to set an example for them that fitness is important and living a healthy lifestyle is important throughout their entire life, not just when they're younger. Or maybe you want to keep up with grandchildren. As we age, obviously things get more difficult to do. But if you are regularly active, you're going to be able to move around and keep up with the little ones a little bit better. So maybe it's your grandkids that are your motivation to want to stay healthy, or to be around long enough to see them, graduate from college or get married or become a great grandparent, things like that. So long-term future, probably off in the distance for most of us. But again, things you can keep in mind if that is getting close. Or maybe you're going to go on a vacation, and obviously right now vacations are a little different and they look a little different and aren't really happening as much. So maybe in the future we'll be going on vacation, but maybe that's what you're working towards. And you bought a new wardrobe or a couple new outfits that you're going to wear when you go to some tropical destination and are sitting on a beach, relaxing. So maybe that's your motivating factor to continue to work towards what you're doing. Or maybe you just want to buy some new clothes. You're tired of what you got in the closet, and you know that if you lose weight, you're going to need different sizes, so you're going to get rid of that stuff. So maybe that's your motivation. Whatever it is that drives you to want to be successful, it's different for every person. So make sure you know what works best for you, because that's going to help you in the long run. So we want to make sure we are doing what works best for us. Reassess your goals regularly as well. Again, if you're crushing your goal, that's fantastic, but now's the time to set a new one. So you don't want to hit your goal and be like, okay, well, I did it. I guess I'm where I'm at, where I wanted to be, and I feel good about it, and this is just where I want to stay, and I'm just gonna stop right here. And that's fine. If you have a certain set weight or a certain set feeling that you want to have, that's fantastic. But once you get to it, if you decide that's where you're going to stay, you've got to continue to be active and you've got to continue to eat healthy because what got you there? Lifestyle changes. So adding physical activity, making sure you are keeping track of what you are eating. Those are how you got to where you want to be. So you've got to continue to maintain those. You can't just slide right back to old habits. Old habits do die hard, um, but they can be kept in check. So again, making sure you're staying on top of your active lifestyle and mix it up. Try a new workout routine to keep things fresh. You don't need to do the same workouts 5 days a week. If you start getting bored of just walking all the time, mix a little jogging in there. If you are doing the same, Tabata workout or the same core workout, or you maybe have exercise videos or whatever you've got, and you just are starting to get tired of it, find something different. There are tons and tons and tons of workouts on YouTube. Now, they're not all quality, so you kind of want to be careful with what you watch. And if you ever have questions on that, feel free to contact me. But again, try to mix that up a little bit. And once we hopefully get exercise classes going again here, come down and join me for those. You know, they're great classes. We change up what we do as far as how many sets of exercises we perform and how long we perform it for and how many rounds we do. They're all really good workouts. They can all be tailored to fit you, whether you're just starting out or whether you're a seasoned vet when it comes to exercise. So once those get rolling again, please consider joining those. Complacency will kill your progress. So getting too comfortable, we want to be comfortable with exercise. We want to be comfortable with tracking our food. We want to enjoy those things, but we don't want to get too comfortable to the point where it's going to impede our progress. So just a quick recap here. We're going to finish up a little bit early. So again, if you guys have questions, please feel free to ask them. You can also reach out via email. That works well also if you're not comfortable asking them in the chat box. But again, are you intrinsically or extrinsically motivated? Both work, but knowing which type works for you is going to benefit you the most. So if you're that person that can just get out and go for a run because you want to, and it doesn't matter how your day has gone, you're going to do it no matter what, that's great. If you're extrinsically motivated and you need, that little help or that little nudge to get going, whether even it's just working with a trainer, like we talked about last week, where you need someone there to help motivate you, there's nothing wrong with that. You just need to understand which one works best for you so you're achieving the best results that you can achieve. Find ways around negative factors on motivation. So again, if you're getting too comfortable, reassess your goal and reset it. Make it a little bit more challenging. If you're starting to get burned out on your workouts or your exercises or whatever your exercise plan is, reassess that. And, unfortunately with tracking food, you can get burned out on that. There's really no other way to do it. So that's one where you just have to kind of grind through it and push through it until it becomes routine. And it's so convenient if you've got a smartphone to just hop on there and put your stuff in. So again, I would encourage you to stay on that and keep working towards that. And again, if you're getting discouraged because you're not making the progress that you thought you were going to be making at this point, know that that is okay. Know that everybody goes through that, and make sure those goals are realistic. So go back and look and see what you set for a goal for yourself. And if it's a really big number, know that, okay, yeah, that's a great goal to work towards. That's my long-term goal. Now break it down and break it into pieces and make it short-term goals. And you set the short-term goal for a time range or a time frame, meet that, and then meet the next one, and then meet the next one. And before long, you're going to be at your big main goal. And then how can you stay motivated? Remember what matters. So maybe you're doing it for your kids. You want to set a good example for them. Maybe you're a grandparent, a new grandparent, or your grandkids are getting into those ages where they're 4, 5, 6, 7. They're doing youth sports. They're running around all the time. They want grandma and grandpa to get out in the yard and play with them and help them with that. So have that be your motivation to stay and keep up with your grandkids and watch them grow. Maybe it's seeing how your parents have gone with their health, and maybe their health has declined as they've aged, and you don't want that same result. Or maybe you have a health history. My grandma was a type 2 diabetic. So, that's something that I always keep in my mind is that I have that history in my family. So I don't want to have to deal with what I watched her go through as a kid, where she was having to poke her finger all the time to check her blood sugar, or where she would get really tired or lightheaded if she hadn't had enough sugar during the day. Um, and then watching the way that affected her towards the end of her life, and how that deteriorated her quality of life, and how hard that was for my dad and my uncles and my aunts, and um, you know wanting to avoid that to make it easier not only on myself but on my family as well. Or going on that vacation, maybe you're going to go to Cancun once all this stuff is lifted, and you want to feel more comfortable in your own skin, because that's what we all want anyways. So work towards that, whatever it is, whatever motivates you. Focus on that, put that in the front of your mind, and don't stop until you reach that goal that you want to reach. So that is everything that I've got for you guys today. Again, I know that's quick. I know it's brief, but talking about motivation sometimes can just reinvigorate it and recharge it. So take that what you will. Again, utilize me as much as you would like. That's everything I've got for you guys today. So we've got a few minutes here before 12 o'clock. I can leave the chat box open if you have any questions. Otherwise, feel free to shoot me an email. And I look forward to checking in with you guys throughout the rest of this week and then next week as well. Have a great rest of your day.